or a random internet rumor. This is a well, all signs point to one thing. Paramount is gearing up for a brand new era of Transformers, one that's loud, flashy, and dripping with nostalgia. It all started with an announcement that immediately threw fans back to 2007, the year the very first Transformers movie dominated the box office and packed theaters worldwide. That movie wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural moment. By the time the sequel rolled out, the franchise was flirting with the billion-dollar mark, and every new entry kept delivering massive box office numbers. What made these movies stand out wasn't just the brand, it was the scale. Those giant action set pieces, the jaw-dropping transformations, the groundbreaking CGI.
He pushed his way out and... Not that one. We did that one yesterday.
You will be betrayed, presence. Now!
With all due respect, Thanos, your daughter made this mess, and yet you saw...
Your demeanor is that of a pouty child. And apparently, you alienated my favorite daughter, Gamora. I shall honor our agreement, Kree, if you bring me the order. But return to me again empty-handed, and I will bathe the Starways in your blood.
Thanks, Dad. Sounds fair. This is one fight you won't win. Let's head to the kiln.
My only curse is you.
All that for a drop of blood. You have my respect, Stark. When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive. I hope they remember you.
Stop! Spare his life, and I will give you the stone.
No tricks.
Don't. we just lose? Why would you do that? We're in the end game now.
Mavericks. Oh no.
Shot off the front end, and the first one that a naval aviator sees after safely trapping on the back end. And just for a minute, imagine you're standing on that air.
Well, it's safe to say. Kaganyan na yan.
That we need them to do.
Kahapon natatawa ako, sabi, lagi niyo sinasabi, parang hintay kang sabihin ako. Ginamit pa yung 7 ngayon. I mean, that's a very creative way by Jonas Magpantay to get position on the 6. Barring any Jonas Magpantay. Geronimo na na-scratch pa yung pamato.
Out there across the joint force are extraordinary, and in particular today I want to highlight the yellow.
And I will just note that no other country in the world is capable of executing what the chairman night after night, unrelenting. Well said. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alexandra Ingersoll, One America News. You talked, Mr. Secretary, you talked at the conference in Florida on Thursday that there was a 90% missile capabilities degradation and 83% drone degradation, and I know the chairman just repeated those numbers. We've seen the most amount of fighting these past 5 days. Is there any update to those percentages? And also, are you able to give any quantification of degradation to the enemy's nuclear capabilities yet?
what those numbers represent is a persistent low ability to respond, which is what we're looking for, right? It's if the enemy can simply wait and then project power, that's problematic. And we've seen some spurts here or there, but ultimately the trend lines, if you look at the charts that we look at every day, have gone like this down to a flat. It doesn't mean they won't be able to project. It doesn't mean our air defenders still don't have to defend. They do, but that is strong evidence of degradation, along with the battle damage assessment that the Joint Staff does, which takes time. You've got to look at imagery and recognize whether something's been simply degraded or it's been destroyed, or whether or not. For us, in very dynamic ways. So underground facility has been collapsed or completely obliterated. So there's differences in how you evaluate that, but the numbers staying that low is a demonstration of the efficacy for sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Secretary. There's been reports that the new leader of Iran has been wounded. Do you know if this is true and what his condition is? And then another one, President Trump said he had a really good call with President Putin yesterday. Will Russia be aiding us in this conflict, and can you share anything on that?
Well, the president, as I've said before, maintains strong relationships with world leaders, which creates opportunities and options for us in very dynamic ways. So the president said it was a good call. I was not on it, but those that were said it was a strong call, reaffirming hopefully the opportunity for some peace in Russia, Ukraine, and also a recognition that as it pertains to this conflict, they should not be involved. The first question was
on the new leader of Iran. There's reports that he's been wounded.
Oh, the new leader of Iran. He would be wise to heed the words of our president, which is to not pursue nuclear weapons and come out and state as such. As far as his status, that's not something I can comment on right now. Yeah, right here.
Correct. Mr. Secretary, Eric Schmidt with the New York Times. A question for you first. Last week you talked about this being the beginnings of an air campaign that could last 3 to 8 weeks. Can you give us your assessment on where we are now? And Mr. Chairman, in any conflict, the enemy or the adversary adapts to the tactics it faces. Can you talk about the most challenging adaptation the Iranian military has made to the U.S. military? What challenges are you facing most right now? Thank you.
I appreciate the question. Where we are is in a very strong place, giving the President of the United States maximum options. And from the beginning, from this podium, we haven't stated how long it will take. Our will is endless. Ultimately, the President gets to determine the end state of those objectives, right? But what he's said continually, and I want the American people to understand, is this is not endless, it's not protracted, we're not allowing mission creep. The president has set a very specific mission to accomplish, and our job is to unrelentingly deliver that. Now, he gets to control the throttle. He's the one deciding, he's the one elected on behalf of the American people when we're achieving those particular objectives. And so it's not for me to posit whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end. That's his, and he'll continue to communicate that. What we serve him as is we give him updates on a daily basis of exactly where we are so he can make that determination on the throttle. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the question on adaptation. As you're right, no plan survives first contact with the enemy or Murphy. They're adapting, as are we. Of course, we have very entrepreneurial warfighters out there. I'd rather not, for operational security reasons, tell them what's working. So I'm going to not answer that question based on that. But we are watching what they're doing, and we are adapting faster than they are.
Are they more formidable than you anticipated, General?
I think they're fighting, and I respect that, but I don't think they're more formidable than what we thought.
Secretary Erickson, thank you. Jordan Conrads from the Gateway Pundit. Axios reported, citing U.S. and Israeli sources, that the U.S. was not happy with strikes on 30 fuel depots in Iran. While this is anonymous sourcing, it seems kind of congruent with what President Trump said yesterday, that there's certain spots they don't want to hit relating to energy infrastructure that would take a long time to rebuild. And whether this reporting is true or not, what's your message to Americans, those who supported the president and those who aren't really in favor of this war and who worry that Israel might be taking advantage of the U.S.'s backing? And then for Mr. Chairman, for you, I wanted to ask, when you say that we're moving inland, what capabilities does Iran have to shoot down jets over their land? And would that trigger some kind of rescue operation that could risk a bigger ground operation?
Well, I would just state by saying Israel's been a really strong partner in this effort. Where they have different objectives, they've pursued them. Ultimately, we've stayed focused on ours. But what Iran has felt is the power of the world's two most powerful air forces. In that particular case, those weren't our strikes or that objective, or that wasn't necessarily our objective. But the president has made it clear to those concerns that we're not getting pulled in any direction. We're leading. The president is leading. He's determining where we want to go, what the outcome will be, what the end state is, with a very keen eye. And I understand those concerns because I've heard from a lot of people who I went through 20 years of those wars myself, worried about getting dragged in, worried about mission creep, worried about nation building or democracy expansion. That's never the perspective the president has pursued on this. Just because previous presidents and previous secretaries have decided to just pour more resources and more people in toward some unguided end state, doesn't mean that's the way the world needs to look today. In fact, the American people voted for a different approach. But what the president also stated from the beginning was Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. And it's one thing to say it. It's easy to say. Anybody can say that. I mean, Barack Obama said that. But to do something about it takes courage and resolve. But in that courage and in that resolve, you can also be very scoped in what you're trying to execute to ensure that the sacrifice of Americans, American treasure, American lives, all of those properly meet the objective that you're trying to accomplish. And certainly, as someone I talked out front about what the Iranians have done to our generation, yes, we're clear-eyed about it. But my job is to keep it scoped, given the directive of the president to accomplish the mission.
Thank you for the question. Most of their higher-end surface-to-air missile systems are not factors at this point in time. We're able to move around fighters. And retain capability of doing search and rescue type of things, but I don't want to get into the details. But thank you for the question.
Chile. We anticipated of that regime then and that regime now, that they still think the pathway out is to try to alienate their Arab partners even more, who've instead decided to come to us and have been willing to go on the offense, have been giving us access, spacing, and overflight in a new partnership that will continue to remake the region the way that President Trump did with the Abraham Accords. So you're pushing those countries in our direction to think it's worth underscoring. I see in the media banners that say, war expanding or war spread. It's actually the opposite. It's actually quite contained, and more of those countries are coming on side, recognizing that you can't live under a conventional umbrella with nuclear ambitions with a radical regime like that. Again, properly scoping the objectives in the process. And then you want to talk about the
Sure. On the.
All right. You've been watching a press conference given by the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. The Secretary saying Iran stands alone and they are losing badly. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata is joining me live from Tel Aviv. Charlie, the Secretary also saying that today will feature the most intense U.S.-Israeli strikes yet in Operation Epic.
final quest. Can it succeed?
There's only one shot, and if you make a mistake, that could be it.
Pluto and Beyond, right now on Nova.
We will annihilate everything. Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that. A lot has changed in the last few years. The wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right, here's the situation.
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
The daughters of Atlas are coming to hunt us.
Children stole the power of the gods. You ripped it from our father's core.
Okay, I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down.
Give us the powers, child.
Your world will not survive this.
Kain. Kain kapag stress. Kain kapag malungkot. Kain. Gusto mong pumayat pero puro ka naman kain.
you